Hi, so today we are going to see how we can integrate API gateways with JWT authorizers. So API gateways support JWT authorizers in the HTTP APIs. Let's see how to implement that. So this API gateway will be backed by a Lambda function, and then we will see three versions of this API, one without any authorization, one with some authorization with a JWT token, and then further enhancement with a scope. So only those specific scopes will be allowed to access our API endpoint. Let's get started. So first of all, we need to create the Lambda function. So this is my Lambda I'm going to create. And I'm going to leave everything as default configuration and create the function. Let's give a couple of minutes, couple of seconds for the Lambda to get created. And here, instead of the hello from Lambda, we would say hello from get player. So we know specifically that it is coming from our player Lambda function, and I'm going to deploy these changes. The next thing I want to do, I want to create the API gateway endpoint. So for that, I'm going to move to the API gateway. Now I'm in the API gateway console. Here I'm going to create the player API. So I want to create an HTTP API. So I will use the name player API, and then so I don't want to add any routes at this time, but I don't want to create any stages also at this time. So no stage, no route, just the bare API gateway. Okay. So now I want to create a route initially. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a get route for the player's endpoint or the player's route. So here I have to integrate the Lambda function that we just created. So I'm going to go here, Lambda function, and here I specify the get player Lambda function. Okay. So it will add all the required permissions for the API gateway to invoke my Lambda function. So now we should be able to deploy this. We'll have to create a stage initially. So V1 is the initial stage that we want to create. And now, okay, we have got this stage, and we want to see, we want to go back to this and deploy this V1 stage. So now we have integrated the Lambda with the API gateway, and we have deployed to the V1 stage. So this is the unauthorized version of our API. Let's see if this is working. So I go to stage, I copy this URL, I try this out here with the player's endpoint. So I get hello from get player. So that part is working. Our unauthorized API is working. So now the next thing I want to do, I want to create an Auth0 API in the Auth0 console. So for that, I need to first log into the Auth0 dashboard. This is my Auth0 dashboard, and I'm going to create a new API here. So I go to create API and I say player API, and the identifier I'm going to say HTTPS player API. So this is super important. right? So we can see here, this is our audience, this is our authority. These are two important parameters that we want to pass in our API gateway side for proper authorization. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to API gateway console again, and then attach an authorizer here. So I will create and attach an authorizer. So it's a JWT authorizer I want to specify here. I would say player authorizer. So our token will be coming in the authorization header and the issuer URL. This is the authority that was specified in our JWT, sorry, the Auth0 page. So this authority we have to copy and use as the issuer URL. And then for the audience, we have to copy the audience value from our API in the Auth0. Okay. And now I'm going to create an attach. So this get route is now authorized with this JWT authorizer. And what I want to do, I want to create a new stage for this V2 version. So I'm going to go here and create a new stage. Let's call it V2. Yeah, I'll leave rest as default. So this is the authorized version. And I'm going to deploy this in the V2 version. So V1 is still unauthorized, but V2 is authorized with the JWT token. Let's see that in action now. So this endpoint I'm going to use in the browser with the player's endpoint, and I should see unauthorized message. But you can see here V1 version is still accessible. And then, so how we can access V2 is only by generating a token from our API. The Auth0 API. So what we need to do, we use a curl command to generate the auth token initially. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to the API details, and here, if you go to the test tab, you can see the curl command that you can use to generate a JWT token. So I'm going to call this endpoint, and okay, so I got a some token here. Let's examine, let's copy the content of this token and see, try decoding that in the jwt.io page. So here you can see this is how the decoded value looks like. It has the issuer or the authority and certain credentials here, expiry times and everything. All these things are here. So this is, you see here, there is no permissions attribute here. And let's use this token in our next curl command to the API endpoint. So I want to use this command here. And what I'm going to do, going to paste this curl command, and I want to use my API Gateway's V2 endpoint. This one here. This endpoint. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm going to copy this one here and choose that here with players, and also for the bearer I'm going to specify this full value. Now let's see if we can access the API Gateway's endpoint. So with the proper authorization with JWT token, we can access our API Gateway endpoint. Now we will add a scope and see if we can access this API endpoint. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create in this authorizer, I'm going to add a scope. Only those that have admin as a scope can access, or the JWT claims that have scope admin can access this API endpoint. So how I'm going to do, I have saved this and I'm going to create a new stage for this v3 version. That is v3 here. And the v3 version will enforce that scope requirement. So okay. So now let's see if we try to use this same token that we used before, we should get an error message. So it says forbidden. Forbidden means that particular scope, the admin scope that we specified as a requirement is missing here. Because if I go back to that JWT.io page where I decoded this value, it did not have the admin scope in the decoded format. So what I want to do, I want to go to my Auth0 page again and specify the scopes. So what I need to do, I need to specify admin scope and add that. So now whenever, and I specify here specifically this admin scope should be added to my JWT token. So now every time when we generate a new token, this admin scope will be added. I will show you that. So what I'm going to do, now we can go back here, and because now we have to generate a new token with that admin scope, I'm going to call that previous command I used to generate the token. So it's this post command to this URL. Now I got the new token. So I'm going to call the v3 version of my endpoint, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to use basically this part, copy this part. Okay. And then yeah, I have got that. So I can basically use this one here, bearer. Then the new token I just generated. Let's see. Okay. So now you can see we got hello from get player response. So if I decode this new JWT token, I should be able to show you let's see, not this one here. It should have this admin scope there. You see here, the scope is admin. So because now this token contain this scope, that is why we were able to access this endpoint in this version 3 stage. So let me show you a few things. So we can, the V1 version is still accessible without any authorization, but for the V2, we could access without any scope. Let me show you that. So the V2 version that we tried, I think this one, it's still accessible without any scope, because this one, if I try on the JWT.io, it does not have the scope attribute here. But the other version, that is the V3, the V3 one, it has the scope also, and only if the token has the scope, then only we can access this V3 version of our endpoint. So that concludes how to integrate JWT tokens in the Auth0 service with the API gateways. Hope this was helpful. I'm hoping to see you in another video. And if there is any other topics that you want me to discuss, please comment, and see you soon.